So today we're going to talk about the Mercury transit from the 11th of November this year. So on this event, Mercury was passing through the Sun's disk and could be spotted as a little tiny black dot. So the basic question is, when does a transit occur? I choose this random webpage, it's theplanetstoday.com, and you can see the solar system from above at a given time and date. I choose the 21st of December this year, and as you can see, if you're looking straight to the Sun from the Earth, obviously Mercury is not in that straight line. So as you can think, Mercury needs to be in the line between the Earth and the Sun, and that happened right at the 11th of November this year. So if you're looking to the Sun, there's a straight line between you and Mercury and the Sun. So now you could fairly ask, why isn't there a Mercury transit in front of the Sun's disk like every Mercury year, which is, I guess, like 88 days? I don't know. So if you look at this picture from the plane towards the Sun and the planets, if Mercury orbits one orbit in perspective to the Earth, it should pass through the disk of the Sun in every conjunction. So whenever you can draw a line from the Earth to the Mercury and the Sun, you should be able to see a Mercury passing the Sun's disk. Yeah, but this picture does not represent the true geometry of the planet's orbits. So in reality, the orbits of the planets are slightly tilted against each other. I drew a simplification picture like that with my incredible paint skills. So look, if you're drawing now a line from the Earth through Mercury, you're ending up above the Sun. So you would see Mercury crossing above the Sun's disk. So in reality, the planets would not only need to lie in one line seen from above, but they must also be in those two special points where the orbits of the two planets seems to cross seen from the side. So they do not actually cross. It's a bit hard to see in this two-dimensional image, so I, with my incredible paint skills, I kind of 3D representation of that scenario. So this is kind of a 3D representation of our first situation. Mercury is now slightly above the Earth's orbit, and so from the Earth's perspective we see Mercury slightly above the Sun's disk. And so there's only one chance for them to really make a transit possible. This is this dotted line I drew here. Among this line you have a intersection of the two planes, and only if the planets are on that dotted line you can see Mercury in front of the Sun. So neither is Mercury below the Sun nor is it above the Sun, but is passing right through the Sun's disk. And because the orbits are shifted and the orbit velocities are different, those interceptions at the dotted line are very rare. So if you're clicking through the different dates on the planetstoday.com, keep in mind not only needs Mercury to be in one line with the Sun and the Earth, it also needs to be in that orbital plane intersection for creating that special transit. So in short, the last four transits occurred on May the 7th of 2003, November the 8th, 2006, May 9th, 2016, then last week November 11th, 2019, and the next transit will occur on November the 13th, 2032. So 13 years to go, according to wikipedia.org. So now we are going to talk a bit about how you can actually capture such a transit. And beforehand, a warning: never, ever point a telescope to the Sun without any proper solar filter. Looking at the sun without any proper filter can not only damage your scope, you will be blind in a split second, so never do that. So this is the hardware I used to capture the transit. I used my Skywatcher 715 150 PDS, that's my OTA scope. It's a Newtonian reflector. I then put that onto a EQ3 Pro mount from Skywatcher. My camera was a ZWO-ASI 120 MCS color camera. It's mainly a planetary webcam, but I use that for planetary imaging and solar imaging as well. And of course, important, the Omegon solar filter, 170mm in diameter. You will notice that I did not use any finder scope. That's because I wanted to avoid the reflex to find any objects through that scope, because I have no proper filter for my finder scope. So my setup was quite in a hurry because of other duties this day. I did a rough polar alignment, meaning just pointing the tripod north. I really didn't do any real balancing of the scope, and I detached the finder scope for not accidentally looking straight in the sun through the finder scope. I obviously did no star alignment, and then I just tried to find the sun manually by just randomly pointing the scope towards the sun, and I was looking onto the screen of my laptop, and that laptop was hidden in this box to create a certain amount of shadow, because the screen was black in the straight sunlight otherwise. Now you can see me pointing at the screen of my laptop. This was one of the first images I took, and I was so excited about that little dot I captured there. So this is a exported single frame image from AutoStackerd, and you clearly can see Mercury passing the sun's disk. You will certainly notice the lack of surface details on the sun. This is on one hand due to my lack of abilities, because this is the first imaging session of the sun I did, and secondly it's because of the bad weather conditions. It was cloudy all day, and I was very worried whether I can actually capture this transit. And then lucky me, 1 hour before the transit, the clouds parted, but not totally, just partly, and there was a layer of high clouds across the whole sky. I have an image of the condition. So I had a struggle with very thick clouds passing in front of the sun, and we'll notice that on the following video. For that video I captured 25 frames of the sun with a delta time of, let's say, 3 to 5 minutes. I varied that time because I wanted to choose those rare occasions where the sun was visible best. So because of that, Mercury has no smooth movement, but will hop from one image to the other image. All in all, I really enjoyed that show. I was so excited beforehand, and I was so worried whether the cloud conditions would ruin all the day, but the sky parted just in the right moment. I was so happy when I first saw Mercury on the sky. It was a very, very great event, and it's so rare. And look, the next transit will be in 13 years, and so then it might just rain. And it was a very lucky event that I could capture Mercury passing in front of the sun. And whenever I show someone else that image, they are all like, what, all that effort just for this tiny little black dot? But really, I love this image. It's a planet, it's a real planet of our solar system passing in front of our sun, and it's so great to see that. So thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. So as always, like and subscribe if you like this video, and clear skies until next time here on Catching Photons.